Hello and welcome to Fund to Money. Here we will discuss whether it makes sense for you to increase your provident fund contribution. What are the circumstances when it makes a lot of sense for you to increase your provident fund contribution? Does VPF make sense? Now, we'll give you a little bit of background before we give you the details in the next section. Now, you can increase your provident fund contribution, which is the mandatory contribution is 12% of your basic plus DA, and that gets matched by your employer. So you can actually increase it to all the way up to 100% of your basic plus DA, but the increase that you do from the mandatory amount, which is 12%, above 12%, the employer need not match it. They typically won't. Now you do it through opening a voluntary provident fund account, VPF account. How do you open a VPF account? You tell your employers to open it, and you mention the contribution that you're going to be doing during any particular year or any particular time. So as you mentioned, it can go all the way up to 100% of your basic plus DA. There's a 5-year lock-in as far as contributions are concerned. If you try to get your hands on the money before that, we are talking about VPF, then it's taxable. After 5 years, it's not taxable. There are no matching employer contributions. Now, there's a lot of discussion that happens on and off on the internet and otherwise about increasing the provident fund contribution, which you're basically doing through VPF, voluntary provident fund. Right now, what are the commonly touted advantages that are given? Most of them, nobody will. Their advantages are all right. Number one, it's low risk. That's right, because EPF investments happen largely in low risk, high quality debt instruments, and there's a little bit of exposure to the equities, so that does happen, but it's largely, you can call it low risk, and it has got a pretty high interest rate. So annually that is announced. Now for the last year 2021-22, an 8.1% interest rate has been announced. Now this is way higher than another government scheme. EPF is actually run by EPFO, Employees Provident Fund Organization. EPF, Public Provident Fund, is also a government scheme, and the going interest rate is 7.1%. So there's a 1 percentage point difference. So people argue that it's a much higher interest rate. It's low risk, therefore at a lower risk you're getting a high return. On the face of it, it's an argument. Then you get Section 80C benefits. Basically, when you make contribution, you get tax deduction. Interest is tax deductible. There's no tax on that. Maturity amount is not taxable. So effectively, the return becomes much higher, right? And then, of course, because it's getting deducted from payroll, it's not coming to you. You don't have to figure out the deduction is happening before the money comes into your account. So you don't have to bother about where to invest it. So these are some of the advantages that people talk about. They're fairly compelling, but here we're going to argue in the next section why it makes sense for a very small set of people, and there are circumstances, and in most cases you're better off doing other things rather than increasing your provident fund contribution, or let's put it this way, VPF will not make sense for most people, especially the young. So we'll be coming up with the details in the next section, but before we take a short break, we would urge you to subscribe to our channel and follow us on all leading social media networks. Do follow the presentations on our retirement playlist and other playlists. I'm sure you'll find them useful. So we'll be back after a short break. Don't go away. Welcome back. Welcome to Fund to Money. In this section, we are going to be discussing why provident fund contribution, increasing provident fund contribution may not make sense to most people, right? Why BPF may not make sense to to most people. So let's jump onto it. Let's look at some of the arguments. We'll give you the arguments which are for. Here are compelling arguments which are going against. Number one is the interest rate on EPF, Provident Fund, Employees Provident Fund. This Provident Fund, which is managed by Employees Provident Fund organization, has been going down, or let's say it's been at a certain level, low level. So in 2009-10 it was 9.5%. After that it has never crossed 9%. Annually the interest rates are announced, and as we mentioned, it's gone down. It went down to 8.25%, then it went up to 8.75%, then it became 8.55% somewhere around 2018-19, 8.5% in that vicinity. So what basically is happening, it's been in that vicinity. It's not sort of gone up. There's no upside to it, right? During this period, so when you're increasing your Provident Fund contribution, you have to look for whether there are other alternatives or not. During this period, if somebody had actually enhanced his or her Provident Fund contribution, compared to that same amount, had it been invested in index funds, in equities, you're investing in equities, but through index fund is the most simple form of equities, between 2011 to 21, then that person would have got somewhere between 14 to 15% returns. So that is the kind of difference that's happening. And during this period, the inflation was 6% between 2011 to 21. So what's happening is, when you adjust it for inflation, roughly 2.5% thereabouts is the difference that's happening for Provident Fund, because every year it's changing. So roughly let's assume for a moment that's where it's going. And in case of index funds, the gap is that much more, so therefore in terms of growing, the money growing ahead of inflation, alternatives are doing better. Remember, for retirement funds, retirement savings, a growth of about 4% or more after inflation is required. Because all of us are going to be leading longer lives, you need a 4% inflation adjusted growth. Provident Fund, including VPF, is consistently not being able to give you that. So you obviously cannot rely on it solely. You cannot rely on it in a large way. So if you are enhancing your, if you want to invest more for retirement, it cannot be Provident Fund, especially if you're young. Now, if tax deduction is what excites you or drives you, you've got better alternatives in NPS, National Pension Scheme. Now, to give an idea, leading equity funds in NPS in the last 5 years have given 14 to 17% return. So that is the kind of difference that's happening. If you instead of focusing on increasing it on EPF, if you had gone to NPS, you would have got a far better result. Now you can have a moderate sort of a scene out there. You can take up an aggressive life cycle fund, where you start off with 75% equity, and the equity investment gets reduced after the age of 35 progressively as your age progresses. Now, if you feel that's a little high risk, you can go to moderate life cycle fund. Then you start with 50% equity there, and progressively it reduces. Then you've got a conservative life cycle fund. You start with 25%, and it reduces progressively. But the upshot is this: that you will get a much higher return through that route than increasing your Provident Fund contribution, right? So especially if you're young, then it's becoming adverse. And that's not all. You get 50,000 rupees extra tax deduction under section 80CCD 1B. So section 80CCD 1B, you get over and above your section 80C 1.5 lakh, you get that. If you had invested totally in NPS, the first slab would have been under section 80CCD 1, that's 1.5 lakh. So if you want that extra 50,000, I mean, if tax is what's driving you, then NPS again is scoring. But that's not to say that NPS is the only alternative. Tax shouldn't be driving you totally. You can look at you need money in any case, whether tax and deduction or not, as far as retirement is concerned. So you can look at retirement funds, regardless of whether you get tax benefits. You can look at regular investments which can be used for earmarked for retirement. So that's number 2. Number 3 is while it's totally exempt, PF is totally exempt, at the NPS isn't doing too badly. You get a 60% lump sum which is tax free, and 40% on which you get regular income, annuity income, that gets taxed. But if you have a much larger savings kitty, then you're able to handle tax that much better. It doesn't bite you so much, right? Remember, for ATC benefits, section ATC benefits, there are other eligible items: children's tuition, home loan repayment. So there's a lot of candidates who are jostling for that, right? Finally, which is the most crucial, one of the most crucial factors, is that beyond 2.5 lakh annual contribution, if you make any interest that you make beyond 2.5 lakhs now is taxable. So if you have made till 2.5 lakhs contribution, you get interest on that, you won't be taxed. But beyond that, you are now getting taxed, right? So what does that mean? Then that means anything above 20,833 thereabouts, and it's a rough calculation, you're making you're making in terms of contribution, then you're getting hit by tax. So it's not exactly as rosy. So if you're already contributing quite a bit, there is only so much that you can increase, right? So somewhere between 1.6 to 1.7 lakh basic plus DA kind of figure will bring you this these figures. So what are the circumstances, if at all, when PF increased PF contribution works for you? So number one is your contribution, PF contribution is less than 2.5 lakhs annually. That is when it makes sense. Otherwise, if you increase the contribution, whatever interest you earn gets taxable at your tax slab. That's not going to be much fun, because that's going to be the highest tax slab at with these numbers. Second is, if you are nearing retirement, that's when it starts making sense. Suppose they are 5 years away, you're already reducing the risk of your other retirement investments. This is where it makes sense, because if you increase the contribution, and you can do so, then it starts making sense, because you want a little bit more of predictability in the returns of your investment, and already you have got a pretty decent accumulation, and you're adding on to that, and it's just helping the compounding effect that much more. So that's where it actually makes sense. But beyond that, for people who are young, it obviously it doesn't work as well as people make it out to be. So if you're young, it will not make that much sense. If you're pretty much coming near retirement, and you can increase that, you're below that taxable threshold, it starts making sense. So we hope you found this useful, and you would go through the retirement playlist. If you've liked it, hit the like button, share it with others. Till the next time, take very good care of yourself, and goodbye.